Well, someone had asked me on one of my earlier videos if I could put a Schlage cylinder. When I put a Schlage cylinder core in a Sargent cylinder, would it work? I don't know. It got me thinking, well, would it? So I have a Sargent cylinder, and the reason they're saying that is because the hole pattern on a Sargent is higher. The hole pattern on a through bolts is higher than on the Schlage. I don't know if you can see that, but this is higher. Now, that only matters really if you're putting it into a Sargent X device and want to carry the bolts through to the head of the device. I don't think I have one around here, else I'd show you. But there is a hole pattern on the Sargent device that allows you to run the screws right through the device onto this. That's a good idea and it works, but if you don't have a Sargent cylinder to go in this, you can put a regular cylinder in. You use the back plate and screws and you screw it to the door. Now, if you use the through bolts through the device and the device breaks, malfunctions, whatever, gets locked up, then you also have to drill the screws out to get the cylinder off, to get the screws loose, on top of the sex bolts that are holding the device onto the door. That's provided it's night latch function and it has sex bolts. So usually 2, maybe 4, depending on who installed it. And it doesn't have lever trim. Lever trim is another ticket, but you don't have to drill these 2 screws out if you use the regular plate. Let me get one. If you use the mountain plate that comes with the Sargent, notice, even better idea. This is a Schlage plate. So you can see the holes don't line up. That's as close as you're going to get to them, but they need to be. This Schlage would be down there. I don't know if you can see that, but they don't line up. So that's the difference in the hole pattern. Now, they said, can you put a cylinder in here so I can just use it? Put a Schlage cylinder in there so you can use it. Well, so I have a Schlage cylinder. There's the Schlage rim cylinder. Here's the core. And if you notice, it doesn't go in. The reason is Sargent, this part of the Sargent is smaller. It goes in. Now, if you had a Sargent lever lock or something, you could drill the handle out and a Schlage will fit in it. But a Schlage cylinder will not go into a Sargent body. Now, I could maybe grind this down and get it to go in, but then we have another problem. The shoulder to the first cut is a 2/16 on a Sargent. But over here on a Schlage, on the shoulder to the first cut is 2/31. So the spacing between here, where it's in the cylinder, and here is 2/16 on your Sargent. And where did my Schlage go? It's around here somewhere. Oh, yeah. But from here to there is 2/31 on the Schlage. So let's line it up. First, you can see the difference in the size of the, what you call it, the faceplate. The face of the cylinder, it's off. It's a little off. You could polish it down, except now the holes won't line up. I mean, they're close. What is that, between 231 and 2? Very close, you know. And I guess if you can get it shimmed right, you know, shim this out a little bit, whatever you gotta do, the difference between cuts is the same. So, yes, if you could adjust the cylinder, just grind down enough so that this only went in till it was 216, you know, from the shoulder, it might work. That's a lot of work. That is way more work than I want to do. So, I'm sure they make aftermarket cylinders for about everything. You can get a Sargent style rim cylinder, mortar cylinder, whatever, with any keyway you want, whether it's Schlage, CE, Dexter, Quickset, whatever. You can probably get it to match that hole pattern. But regardless of what cylinder you put in, you can always drill the rest of the door out, and just mount it with what comes with. So there's really no need to try to mess around with this and spend a lot of time trying to put, you know. And then once you did, let's say you did put that in there, is this going to be enough to come through? Would this be enough? I don't even think there'd be enough threads or anything. I don't know if you can see it. Put it over here. That cylinder's much longer, the score is much longer. That is barely coming through. I want to measure that. Anyway. So it wouldn't, even if you get this into there and figure out a way of lining all these holes up in the core with the stuff in the chamber, the Bible, whatever you want to call it, casing, it still probably wouldn't work. Way too short. And if it did work, I don't know. The tailpiece will float around because it's not snug on there. I don't know. But I did entertain it. I thought, how can I prove or disprove if you can do that? Anywho, that's that. You just go buy a cylinder that's the keyway you want, with the hole pattern you want, and be done with it. Okay? Hope that's clear as mud. Now, I was going to measure everything with my calipers and show you what it was. Well, I can still do that. There's the Sargent. Let me clear it. Zero it. Open it up. So that is a 0.5635, a little over ½ inch. The core should be about ½ inch. Okay. That was a Sargent. Got a core. It's just over ½ inch. Let's see what the face is. Wow. 0.6. The other one was 0.5. This is 5 something. This is 0.6090. And that was 5.6. So it is way too large to be pounded into. There. Clear as mud, clear as mud. Have a great Thanksgiving.